Each and every one of us has this inner voice that comes from a deep inner feeling that knows exactly what is right for us and what isn't, that knows what is going to bring the greatest fulfillment and alignment. And this inner voice knows so much more than that as well. When we can trust this inner voice, just sitting in presence with another person, we can tap into exactly what they need to hear. And we can tap into it in the way that they need to hear it. Because sometimes, if we're really tapped into this inner voice, what we're sharing is actually something that is so sensible and so seemingly obvious. But if we're really sensitive, we can share it in a way that's so attuned to the other that it's exactly what they need. And they might need to hear exactly that thing that way from us. We are all attuned to this higher consciousness, whether we realize it or not. This inner voice is inspiring every person to take a certain path, to take certain actions, to take certain steps in their lives. And you might notice that there are signs and signals on an intuitive level that show up again and again until you start to take that pathway. Then once you do, it's like, oh, everything kind of eases up and you feel greater trust, and you finally celebrate that this decision that I've been guided to for so long closed the gap and I made it, and seems that I made the right path, and all of this was showing up for a reason. Though when we learn to close that gap sooner and we don't hang out in the energy of hesitancy and uncertainty, we accelerate our vibration. And the more we accelerate our vibration, we tap into a state that is channeling. I call it channeling, and other people use this state for creative inspiration, for coaching, for artistic expression, for even inventing new technologies and ideas. All of this can come through this channeling state. So the channeling and intuitive healing program that I offer is essentially about learning how to get into this state and, first of all, interrupting that cycle of hesitancy that brings us into doubt ourselves and to doubt our intuition. And by interrupting that and being in the flow more of the time and making conscientiousness to directing ourselves to this flow state, everything in our lives shifts and changes. And we, as I've said before, then start to read this for other people, and we can sense exactly what they need and bring in this energy for them as well. And it's truly amazing what something that, once you wrap your mind around it, is so simple, can bring. This program is a 13-week journey that will be in a small group of 3 to 6 people, and we will practice intuitive healing skills and channeling skills over this time and use this small group container to reflect with one another of how we're developing with these skills, to practice them on each other in a way that's safe, because we also make mistakes in this process and we learn what not to do. And when we have this beautiful container of trust and intimacy where we're all open to learning and growing, it gives us a place where it's okay to make mistakes. But what actually is most surprising is for people who join is that their intuition was spot on from the beginning, is that they could, when guided to do so through the protocols, simply read the energy of another person and know so much about them, or at least what that person needed to hear. And then it was just a process of learning to trust and drop in and move through some of these filters that distort this process of receiving the information, and then they were able to relay it to others, and it all kind of fell into place and lit up in incredible ways for them. Through this program, many people have begun professional channeling practices, but even more than that, have just found this connection to their inner voice and this frequency of passion that is so much a part of intuition. It's what lights us up and what fills us with joy that we want our intuition to be based from. Our intuition guides us towards that and away from things that are a lesser vibration than that. So people have been able to shed so many layers of conditioning that say to process reality in a different way other than from your deepest place of your heart's inner knowing. And coming to trust that place, it's like you become a masterful creator of your own reality because you realize that it's in here that everything outside of you emerges from. And when you get to craft this inner space by clearing out past belief systems and traumas and old archetypal energies that are not really relevant to where we as individuals want to go now and in the future, then everything can totally change. So, in the course, we set up the foundation for learning how to channel by getting into that flow state. And then we do talk about this world of entities, of astral beings, of extraterrestrials, of angels, of fairies, and how we can develop relationship with them and how we can bring their consciousness to meet our consciousness, whether it's through an interaction like speaking to them like you'd speak to me or another person, or speaking to them internally, bringing them into your body. Um, Not everybody is ready for that, but that's we start with what's most advanced because once we see naturally what our capability is with the most advanced thing in the course, then all of the other intuitive healing gifts that somebody might be intimidated by actually feel super easy in the moment because you've already tried the hardest part. And then you get better and better at that channeling part as we work through these different intuitive healing skills that are just about energetically scanning yourself and others. And we work with these different energies that get stuck in the body from the inner child and from the masculine and feminine archetypes. And as somebody who is queer, I understand that the inner masculine and feminine are something very different for every person. So we talk about this in a much more inclusive way, making the space for what these energies mean to every person rather than in what often happens in some of the goddess or brother circles where there's these strong definitions about what the masculine and feminine is. It's more of like these are archetypes that live on within us, and we each have our own inner relationship with them, and we can learn to integrate them in our own way so that these energies express through us in beautiful ways. Um, and so, yeah, you learn how to be in this channeling state, be in trance states, and help others get to those states and energetically scan others. And then in the last part of the course, we talk about putting yourself out there in the world, whether it simply means getting comfortable sharing these gifts with people who are ready for them in your life, or if it means really beginning that professional practice. So everybody steps in at their own level, and we all come into a co-creative space beyond who's a better channel. We are all equals as souls, helping each other expand and grow. And this is a life transforming process for me and for everybody. So I'm really excited to be able to offer this and grateful for all those who choose to trust and show up for themselves. There's still one early bird spot available for the program beginning April 6th, and it goes on till sometime in June, maybe July, depending on how many weeks we take for break for integration. So it says 13 weeks, but it's really 12 modules over 13 or 14 weeks, and there's like 12 or 13 hours of pre-recorded content and then a 2-hour live call every week to really go deep into these materials where we talk about some new concepts and learn skills. You can ask me questions, you can share your experience with the group, and then we do channeling Q&A like the live streams that I do, but more catered to that group energy and more catered to those who are ready to step up and learn to channel and learn to bring through these energies in their own way. So there's about 9 days left to sign up, and I have one more program, one more spot available at, it's not early bird anymore, but it's just as it's a smaller group than normal, keeping that discounted spot available. So for the last person, the next person to sign up, that's the last spot, and then there it's at the standard price. And the program is the content is available forever. You can download the videos if you want, or you can just keep your online access to them and go back to them whenever you want. And people do say that sometimes years later, or they come back into it to just get that refresher, as it is really powerful content. So that gift is always with you, as well as the access to these community members that you build these powerful bonds with. So if you want to talk to me about it and see if it's right for you, I offer free program consultations, so you can really pick my brain about it and see if it fits, or you can write me about it as well. There's a bit more time to sign up, so looking forward to seeing you in the program and sharing this journey with you, as it's really about tapping into joy. Um, it's from this place of love and joy that we're guided to the things of the right vibration that keeps our energy high. That energy becomes contagion, and it's the most beautiful contagion out there. And we start to be not only helping people deepen in their consciousness, but expanding the world with the state of love and joy. And that is one of the greatest gifts to be able to spread and share, just through your presence, just through being embodied in this intuitive way. So, see you then.